Frank Pendergast is going to join us today for an insider's look at the Deep Roots Festival coming up on GC Conversations. Hello and welcome to GC Conversations, a show where we bring in faculty, staff, family and friends, community members to talk all things Georgia College and this community. I'm your host, Wendell Staten. Thanks again for joining us today. Today we're joined by Frank Pendergast. Excuse me, Frank.
No problem.
You told me the R is silent in there. So we're talking Deep Roots Festival today. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Frank, I'm new to town. Tell me all about the Deep Roots Festival. In this first segment, why don't we just talk about the actual festival? When does it start? Friday night, Saturday, what all happens? Start on Friday night.
Sure.
Or Friday, whenever.
Well, technically, one of the aspects of the Deep Roots Festival is we have a Memphis Barbecue Network competition.
Okay.
And our teams will start coming in on Thursday to prepare for the event on Saturday. Deep Roots Festival for the majority of the community occurs on Saturday.
Okay.
And this year it's Saturday, October 22nd. Gates open at 10 o'clock. And our final band will finish around midnight.
Okay. All
right. So on Thursday, you'll start seeing some of our competition barbecue teams rolling into town with their big rigs. Some of these rigs are 30 feet long, cost well over $100,000.
I always see that, and there's some things blocked off downtown, probably starting on Thursday.
Yeah,
maybe?
Start on Thursday morning. We start blocking off a portion of Jefferson Street, and so that we have to make way for the teams to back in their rigs and get set up.
Okay.
So there's background work going on Thursday and Friday. Friday night, we have what we call, on the barbecue side, they have an ancillary competition, and that's where teams cook anything but, B-U-T-T.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do sauce, we'll do margaritas, we do chicken, we'll do seafood, sometimes we do chili, sometimes we do other things, but they do anything but what they're actually going to be cooking for the competition.
Okay, gotcha.
And the barbecue competition itself starts Saturday morning, and they're cooking ribs, shoulder, and whole hog.
How many teams do you typically have in for the barbecue portion?
Typically, we've had up to about 38 teams, down to 25. The way the economy is right now, it costs a lot of money for these teams to compete. They're invested well over $1,200 a lot of times just to come in to compete. So we've seen a little bit less teams show up. But we've had a lot more local teams coming recently because they see what's going on. It's a lot of fun.
It is. Yeah.
So a lot of the local teams will show up on Friday, and they'll have a little party Friday night, and then they'll compete on Saturday. Hopefully, if they wake up.
Right. Now you said Memphis barbecue. Now, being a native North Carolina, is there any Eastern North Carolina barbecue going to be there or not?
No.
Okay.
No. In most of the competitions, even with other there's a Florida Barbecue Association, and there's also there's a Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't going to be cooking Memphis Carolina style. You won't see much mustard. You won't see a whole lot of the vinegar sauce. Most of the teams are what's winning on the tour, or whatever you want to call it right now, the circuit, is more of a sweet sauce, a sweet thick molasses sauce.
Yeah. I've noticed that as a barbecue connoisseur, the North Carolina has the vinegary, and then the South Carolina is more of a mustard base, and then and then it goes.
Now the teams will, because we've traveled with the teams before. We've gone to a lot of trainings and been to the big jig and a lot of other competitions. But talking to the teams, they'll adjust their sauce depending on where they are. If they're competing in North Carolina, they will make more of a vinegar-based sauce. But in Georgia, the judges around here, because they're cooking for the judge.
That's right. Yeah.
They prefer more of a sweet, a little bit tangy sauce.
All right. Now, and public consumption of this can take place Saturday only, or is it Friday?
Well, if you know teams, you can show up on Friday. And a lot of the local teams, Rotary and teams like that, Exchange Bank has a big turnout.
Yeah.
They kind of turn into a party, employee situation. So if you know them, of course, you can get some sauce on your lips. But on Saturday is when the community has an opportunity. We have an event called the People's Choice, where all the teams will enter in pulled pork, and you'll be able to buy samples of 5 to 6 teams for $5, and then you get to judge. You get to be your own barbecue judge without being a certified judge, and those plates usually run out pretty fast. And so for $5, you'll be able to do that. But also, we're having one of our competition teams cook us some pulled pork as well. So we'll actually be vending pulled pork plates on Saturday. It'll be for just one of our teams, but we get more and more. People want to try it. They smell it, they see it. But the problem is with this particular style of competition, they do on-site judging on Saturday, meaning that they're not only typically you have a blind box where you prepare the meat and you turn it in, and then you have judges behind a closed door judge you, and they don't know who you are, they don't see you. But in Memphis barbecue, they will actually also judge you on site. The judges will come out to your cook site and judge you, and because of that, we don't really want the public in that area because they're being judged, and they have to be quiet and things like that. So they don't want people asking, "Hey, can I have a rib?" When they're in the middle of judging.
Well, that's a neat process. So then we wake up Saturday morning, and what all do I have out there?
You wake up Saturday morning, and you can at 10 o'clock, like I said, the gates open. It's $5 per person to come in. Children 8 and under will get a punch card to ride the rides in our Kid Zone for free. They can, or if you have older children, or if they want to ride more than the 15 times they get to ride, they can buy another ticket. But we have of course, we're primarily arts and crafts festival. We'll have over 60 fine arts and crafts vendors. That means they have to make it. It has to be handmade. It's not things that they bought and resell. So we'll have about 60 of them in downtown lined up. We also have an open car show. Last year we had well over 75, 80 cars in the open car show, cars and bikes and that sort of thing. It's really neat. I mean, you get to see some really good classic cars. This year they're expecting well over 100.
And where do these cars come from? All over? Or?
All over, all over. I mean, there's a local car. There's Old Capitol Car Club is the sponsor for that event. But they say, I mean, people driving cars from all over the state, and I imagine some of them are outside of the state. So we've got the car show. We have the arts and crafts. Georgia College has a big area right by our main gate where they're doing arts and crafts, fine arts. The theater will be coming in doing some flash mobs and things like that, and they'll have 2 big 20 by 20 tents set up right at the very front of the event, where it's Parents Weekend as well, so they'll be able to come in and see where the money's going. And so they'll hopefully we'll have potters throwing mud and doing potter's wheel. They'll be doing printing, all kinds of different arts and crafts, and that's right at the gate 1. We also have a community stage where we'll have a variety of acts that'll be, it's Union Recorder sponsors the community stage, and that's going on up until about 6 o'clock. And then we've got our food court area where we have all of your corn dogs and all the carny food that people tend to associate with the event. Plus you have all the restaurants downtown that of course are going to be open.
Frank, I'm gonna hold that thought. We're up against a break, and we'll come right back, and we're gonna talk more Deep Roots Festival here on GC Conversations.
Is that thing getting closer? Look how high that thing's going. Look out there. Look at the debris.
Give me the camera.
No, just drive. I've got it.
Zoom in. Zoom in.
I can't believe this is happening.
Oh, the size of that thing.
It's everywhere.
Are you getting this?
Yeah, I've got it. What was that?
It's the National Guard.
How'd they get here so fast?
I don't know.
Pull over. Pull over.
Do you have what it takes to head into the heart of the storm? Check out NationalGuard.com.
Hello and welcome back to GC Conversations. I'm your host, Wendell Staten, along with Frank Pendergast. We're talking all things Deep Roots Festival today, and Frank, we were just talking about all the things that happened down there. Let's continue on with that theme of the different stages. You talked about the community stage. Why don't you just take over and start talking about that?
Sure. We've got the community stage. Like I said, we'll have music and entertainment going on that stage from 10 to about 5 o'clock. That's sponsored by Union Recorder.
Now, I love this stage because you got various acts. I think I saw a guy on a unicycle out there one time. I saw some juggling. I really like that. It's a great fun for me personally.
No, it's a lot of fun. It's not just for kids anymore.
That's right,
Then we have, like I said, we have our Kid Zone, which is sponsored by Robbins Federal Credit Union. They're the ones that will allow the kids 8 and under to ride all the rides for free. We certainly appreciate that. Then we've got our main stage with bands starting around 6 o'clock. That is sponsored by Shop Local Milledgeville. They're our primary sponsor this year.
Okay.
And so we'll have acts on that main stage, like I said, starting around 6 o'clock, and they'll go until midnight.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I want to go to the event, how do I get tickets?
Well, you can buy tickets in advance at the Main Street office.
Okay.
But most of the people are going to end up buying the tickets at the gate.
Okay.
But we have them at Main Street, which is located downtown near the code office, across the street from the post office.
Okay. There's no price difference if I buy it before or ahead?
No,
or not?
the only price difference is that if you, it's $5.
Right.
It's $5 in advance, $5 at the door. But if you attempt to buy your tickets after 5 o'clock,
okay,
the price goes to $15.
Okay.
And that's primarily to drive people to come down early,
right,
enjoy some of the aspects of the event. But we actually do, I mean, some people do show up late, and,
right,
and it's $15.
Okay,
but
yeah,
your $5 ticket that you buy at 10 o'clock will get you into everything,
right,
that night.
And I get a wristband.
You'll get a wristband, and you can come in and out.
Perfect.
You can shop at the local stores.
Right.
You can leave the event and come back. We're not,
Yeah. And I know the band, the main stage always gets a big crowd every year. Who's our featured acts?
Our featured acts are, our headliner are the Wigs.
Okay.
They're out of Athens, Georgia. We also have Reptar, Cowboy, and we have another band called Trout Fishing in America.
Okay.
All the information is on our website, deeprootsfestival.com. There's links to the band so you can kind of get an idea of what they sound like. Trout Fishing America is going to be earlier. They're actually a kids band.
Okay.
And they're a 4-time Grammy nominee.
Wow.
They're actually kind of fun.
Okay.
So my kids are going to certainly enjoy
Well,
it.
good. All right. So a great day. We got a car show. We got arts and crafts. I mean, just a downtown festival is having grown up with one every year is just awesome. And I was so pleased when we moved here to have this. And I know this is our 8th year, I believe.
Correct. It's the 8th year.
Tell me about it. Tell me the history. How did this thing get started?
Well, it came out of an event that was called Festoville.
Okay.
And it was held on front campus of Georgia College.
Okay.
And that was something that Main Street, Milledgeville Main Street, who is the event, who is kind of puts this event on,
right,
inherited that event. And I was on board. I still am on the board of Main Street. And we were doing that event, and it just was taking a lot of time and effort to put it on, and it wasn't getting the response back from the downtown merchants that we wanted.
Okay.
It was on front campus. It was beautiful.
Right.
But we weren't getting that business push that we wanted.
Right.
So I killed the event.
Okay.
And then we took a year off. And at that time, our director, Main Street director, Heather Holder at the time, wrote and received a $5,000 grant from the Knight Foundation to develop a community event. So the board, the Main Street board, we took a year off. We traveled. We looked at other events. We went to trainings to learn how to put on a proper event.
Gotcha.
And so in 2004, we started with the first event, and it was just on one block. Our budget was $5,000 because that's all we had.
Right.
We had a trailer, a flatbed trailer was our stage.
Gotcha.
And we used local bands, and we had probably about a turnout of about 2,000.
Okay.
Since then, it has grown, exponentially.
Right.
And we've grown from 1 block to 2 blocks to 4 blocks to now we take over pretty much all of downtown.
Yeah.
Our attendance in the last few years has hovered between 12 to 15,000 people.
Okay.
So it's a great event.
Yeah.
We really can't grow much more.
Right.
The hotels are booked. People are staying in Macon to come to the event. So and of course, it's a great event.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun to put it on. It's also a lot of work.
Well, that's the thing. We'll talk about just the economic impact, but also just the community impact, the feel-good impact, you know, that you can't really put a price tag on.
Sure.
I mean, as someone, again, who moves into town, I got a great day Saturday. We've got Georgia College having our family weekend that weekend. Yeah. It's just really a nice time.
Yeah, we've had a lot of community buy-in, of course, for the event. And the city, we couldn't do any of this without the city of Milledgeville. Their assistance has been, like I said, we couldn't do it without them. But the community buy-in's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, people look forward to it. They circle it on the calendar. Oh, that's Deep Roots. I mean, they get all excited about it, geared up. Everybody wants to know who's playing and what else is going on. So it's been wonderful. Our turnout is always great.
Well, it's a destination event. Like you said, people circle on their calendar. It's a great thing for our community.
For most of our merchants downtown, and once again, that's why Main Street puts it on, is to kind of focus attention on our downtown.
Yeah.
And it's a fundraiser for Main Main Street.
Right.
Because we use the proceeds to fund facade matches and facade grants, beautification of downtown, making downtown a destination.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of our merchants will tell you that this is their best day ever.
Okay.
This beats Christmas. This beats anything.
Okay.
So all they always say is, "This is great. When can you do another?"
Okay, I got you. Well, I want to come back and talk downtown in a minute, but let's kind of stay with the festival. This thing doesn't get put on overnight. Okay, you don't just come out here with a sheet of paper and 3 people and go, "Hey, let's go downtown next week and have a couple people."
Right.
Tell me about the planning process.
Right. We'll take two months off after the event to we'll do a debrief meeting where we kind of talk about what went well, what didn't work well, what we can work on.
Yeah.
The great thing is we call ourselves the Red Shirts. That's the group of volunteers that primarily does all the work.
Okay.
And we call ourselves the Red Shirts because we have a distinct color. We wear red shirts that day.
All right.
And the idea being that if you ever have a question, find a red shirt.
Gotcha.
And they can answer your question. Okay. So we start the planning process about 10 months out. The majority of that planning, we've been doing it for 8 years now. Yeah. So now we can pretty much get it all done. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do now. But from the picking the bands and getting ready for making bids on bands, that starts 10 months out. Yeah. Because it's difficult to get a really good band for the price that we can afford. Mm-hmm. So that committee has a difficult time. So they work well out trying to find people that are in between spots. That's how we can get some of these great bands. I mean, in the past we've had John Butler Trio, we've had Grace Potter, Delta Spirit. These are really good bands that typically wouldn't stop here in Milledgeville. Gotcha. But that committee does a great job of catching these bands in between gigs. Right.
I'm going to talk more about the committee. We're up against another break.
Sure.
Come back, talk a little bit more about our Deep Roots Festival here with Frank Pendergast on GC Conversations.
Why do people think there's more disagreement in the state legislature than in most families? My brother and I argue about everything, even which TV show to watch. Mom says our elected officials debate important issues every day, and they may argue too, but in the end they compromise. And that's how the best decisions are made. Am I missing something?
Learn more about how compromise works by logging on to www.representativedemocracy.org.
And now, another adventure with Savings Man.
Oh dear, I can't afford that.
Charge it. You can pay it off later.
Not so fast, credit card guy.
Savings Man.
Don't let him entice you, ma'am. Credit card guy can lead you to big trouble. You need a savings plan.
You're right, Savings Man.
Get this ballpark estimate worksheet at choosetosave.org. It will help you get started.
Gee, thanks, Savings Man.
No, thank you.
So visit choosetosave.org and get your ballpark estimate today.
Hey, Wendell Staten here on GC Conversations, back with Frank Pendergast. And Frank, we're going to, our last segment, talk a little bit more about Deep Roots and about downtown. But when we left off, we were talking about just the work that is involved in the volunteers, okay, committees. And then, again, you've got to have people running different things during the day. Give me how many people involved in this thing? I mean,
sure.
Countless.
Our core group is about 8 people.
Okay.
And we're the ones that are meeting 10 months out.
Right.
But at the, as we gear up getting closer, of course it takes many more volunteers than that. Nobody gets paid.
Right.
I mean, we all do this because we love Milledgeville.
Absolutely.
And we wanted to develop something that Milledgeville could be proud of. And I think we've done that thus far. But we'll have well over 75 to 85 volunteers helping throughout the event. Now, of course, the event starts at 10, ends at midnight, but our crew is on the ground starting Thursday night getting things ready. Right. We have gates to put up, we have fencing to put up, we have fencing to take down. So throughout the day, 80 to 85 volunteers working about 4-hour shifts. Right. If you're interested in volunteering, you can go to our website, deeprootsfestival.com. Yep. You can get all the information you need on there. You can click on volunteers. You can learn about how to be a volunteer. Mm-hmm. There's also information about our Stump Smoker Grill. Okay. Stump Smoker is one of our sponsors for our barbecue competition, and you can look at the grill. It's about an $1,800 grill. Okay. It's a competition cooking grill, and you can buy tickets for it, 1 for $5 or 5 for $20. Right. And we certainly hope we sell out of those tickets because it helps offset a lot of our costs that have in the event. But no, it takes a whole lot of people to put this on, and we'll do a training the week before to kind of let people know what we expect of them, what their jobs are going to be, which pretty much is, we're going to ask you to do something, to please do it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I want to go back to the cooperation you get from our local governments here.
Sure.
Because the police and the trash pickup, all these types of things would not happen if we didn't have cooperation from our local government.
Absolutely not. They certainly have total buy-in for it. Along with Baldwin County helps out. All of our local banks help out. They actually run our gates. We used to have volunteers do it, but then we decided early on that I'd rather have people who handle money on a regular basis do it.
Right.
So almost all of our gates are run by bank volunteers, and they'll be represented. They'll be wearing, or their gates will be decorated with their bank.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see who they are on our. We'll send a map out in the Union Recorder that everybody can kind of see a layout of the event. They can see our sponsors, and we certainly hope that you patronize our sponsors of the event, because without them we couldn't do this.
Right. Well, again, I like the fact that it's local, it stays local, and everybody buys in. It's a great event at deeprootsfestival.com.
Yeah,
correct?
deeprootsfestival.com.
All right. I want to change gears here in our last couple minutes and just talk about downtown, because when I brought some guests in recently, and when they walk downtown, they're just absolutely blown away. This place is beautiful. Every college student or parent that comes through says, "What a picturesque downtown! It's like a movie scene."
Yeah.
And I know, and it hasn't, hasn't always been that way. And I know partly impetus. You've been down there since I believe '93.
Correct. Yeah.
Tell me about when you first came here. What did you see, and how'd you figure out? Well, you know what, this might be a good location.
Well, when we came here in '93 and opened up the Brick, downtown was pretty vacant.
Mm-hmm.
They had about a 60% occupancy rate. Mm-hmm. And rents were very low, and we moved into a building that had been a restaurant 3 or 4 times before, mm-hmm. and of course everybody said you're going to fail.
Right.
Everybody fails downtown,
right.
And we just didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make any sense. With you had Georgia College a 9-iron away,
right.
You had GMC a driver away,
right.
You had all the banks and all the churches and the outlying communities that are all in walking distance. It didn't make any sense to us.
Right.
I was 23 at the time,
That's
so
right.
maybe I should have thought more about it, but it really didn't make sense that it wouldn't work. So we have certainly seen a major change in downtown from '93,
right.
From 60% occupancy to 100%. Mm-hmm. The only buildings downtown that aren't occupied are under construction, or
right.
they're under negotiations for a project.
Right.
So we're looking at second-story development now. I mean,
okay.
that's where our next
right.
push is trying to show that we can get some of these lofts and get some of these apartments
mm-hmm.
In our second story, so we can use the infrastructure that's already in place.
Right. Well, I know again, I coming here and with the growth of both colleges and our students from both colleges and community, we all go downtown and eat and shop, and like you said, I know your merchants are like, hey, when can we do this again, this Deep Roots Festival, because it's such a great day. But we really do. We've got a jewel of a downtown, and I know it's one of the things when we show prospective members into the community, that's one of our highlights.
True. I mean, it's been said time and time again, you can judge a community by their downtown. Mm-hmm. It's the heart of the community, and ours still is. We still have our city hall, county courthouse, post office. All of our banks, I mean, not all of them, but a majority of our banks are represented downtown. So it's unusual for a downtown to survive. Ours almost died.
Mm-hmm.
All the stores moved north into the mall and moved out of downtown, and it did. I mean, we had a good potential losing it. A lot of communities ended up losing theirs, but if not for Georgia College and GMC to be the anchors of downtown, I think that that's really what's helped keep us in the game and relevant.
Yeah.
So now it's about keeping downtown a destination. Mm-hmm. No, we don't have parking, a big parking lot, but we do have unique buildings and a unique atmosphere that you can't get in a strip mall or outside of an historic area.
Right.
So our goal with Main Street is to help beautify downtown and make it a destination that you want to walk. You want to get on the sidewalk. You want to hear the sounds. You want to smell the smells. You want to see the people. And so that's what this is all about.
I had some, as we talk about our community becoming a destination for retirees, I had some folks who involved with this, and they came in. And that's the first thing they said. You just bring people that's downtown, and that's it. You're done. You've got them.
Yeah. You're right.
So, but one more time, Frank, give us the website and tell us the date and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. It's deeprootsfestival.com. It's going to be next Saturday, October 22nd. Gates open at 10 o'clock. And the main stage starts, the music and entertainment starts about 6 o'clock. Okay. And then it's all over at midnight.
All right, great. Well, come out and enjoy a day, folks. We'll have all kinds of stuff happening downtown at the Deep Roots Festival. For Frank Pendergast, I'm Wendell Staten. We'll see you next time on GC Conversations.